The universe's oldest species acknowledges humans as their lost children. Part 1. The ship named Pathfinder moved slowly through the darkness of space. Inside, Captain Alex Morgan looked at the main screen. A strange signal was coming from somewhere, near Alpha Centauri. It was unlike anything they had seen before. "What do you think it is?" he asked, turning to his science officer. Olivia Winters shook her head. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat bun, and her eyes never left her screen. "I don't know, Captain. It's not random noise. There's a pattern to it. The Pathfinder was the first human ship to travel this far from Earth. They had left the solar system just 3 months ago. Their mission was to explore nearby star systems, but Earth Command had given them strict orders to stick to the plan. Earth Command wants us to ignore it," said Communications Officer Ben Harris. He was a young man with bright eyes and a serious face. "They say we should continue to Proxima Centauri as planned." Captain Morgan stood up and walked to the large window. Stars stretched out before him like diamonds on black velvet. He had waited his whole life for this mission. He wasn't going to ignore the first unusual thing they found. "Send a message back to Earth. Tell them we're going to check out the signal," he said. "It's why we're out here, isn't it? To explore." The crew members looked at each other. They all felt the same mix of excitement and fear. "Setting new course," said pilot Lisa Chen. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "We'll reach the signal source in about 10 hours. As they got closer, they could see something in the distance. It wasn't a planet or a star. It was a structure, clearly made by intelligent beings. "Olivia, what are we looking at?" asked Morgan. Olivia's eyes widened as she studied her readings. "It appears to be a space station, Captain, and it's enormous. Our scans show it's about the size of Earth's moon." "A space station? Out here?" Ben asked. "Who built it?" "There's something else," Olivia continued. "Some of these patterns in the station's design, they look like the markings we found in those caves on Earth. The ones from 50,000 years ago that no one could explain." Captain Morgan felt a chill run down his spine. Those cave markings had been one of Earth's greatest mysteries. Some thought they were just random drawings by early humans. Others believed they were messages left by visitors from space. Now we're seeing the same patterns here, light years from Earth. "Are they sending any messages?" he asked Ben. "No, sir. Just that same signal on repeat." Morgan made his decision. "Prepare a small team. We're going to board that station." 4 hours later, Morgan led a team of 5 onto the strange space station. They wore their spacesuits even though their scanners showed the station had breathable air inside. The entrance opened for them automatically, as if the station knew they were coming. Inside, the walls seemed to glow with a soft blue light. The hallways curved in strange ways that seemed to bend the rules of normal space. "This technology is far beyond ours," whispered Dr. Frank Anderson, the team's engineer. "Look at how the materials flow into each other. No seams, no joints." They walked deeper into the station. The hallways led them to a large round room with a dome ceiling that showed the stars outside. In the center of the room was a round platform. As they stepped closer, the platform lit up. A figure appeared above it, made of light. It looked almost human but taller, with a thin body and large eyes. Its skin seemed to shimmer with tiny points of light like stars. "Welcome, children of Earth," the figure said in perfect English. "We have waited a very long time for this moment." The team froze in shock. "Who are you?" Morgan finally asked. "How do you know our language?" "I am the archivist," the figure replied. "I speak all languages. We have watched your world since your species first began to use tools. We have learned your ways and your words." "We? Who are we?" asked Olivia. "We are the Luminarites," said the archivist. "We are the oldest living species in this universe. We existed when your galaxy was still young." Morgan stepped forward. "Why have you been watching us?" The archivist smiled. It was a gentle, familiar smile that felt strangely comforting. "Because you are our children," it said. "Long ago we spread our seed across the stars. Earth was one of the worlds we chose. You humans carry our essence within you. The team looked at each other in disbelief. That's impossible, said Frank. Humans evolved on Earth. Yes, the archivist nodded. But with our help. We added small pieces of our genetic code to your ancestors. We guided your evolution from simple apes to what you are now. Prove it, said Morgan. The archivist waved a hand and images appeared in the air around them. They showed ancient Earth, with early humans building the first tools. Then the pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge, the Great Wall of China. These are just pictures, said Olivia. Anyone could have collected these. Then let me show you what no one else could know, said the archivist. New images appeared. They showed an ancient city, more advanced than anything known to exist, that, far back in history. The city stood where the Sahara Desert now was, but it showed green fields and rivers. The lost city of Atlantis, whispered Ben. It wasn't a myth. It was your first great civilization, said the archivist. Before the great floods. It was there that we last walked among you, teaching your ancestors. That was 25,000 years ago. Morgan felt his heart racing. If this was true, it would change everything humans believed about themselves. Why are you telling us this now? He asked. Why wait until we came here? Because now you are ready, said the archivist. You have reached the stars on your own. You have proven yourselves worthy of your heritage. The archivist stepped down from the platform and approached them. Everyone tensed, but Morgan held his ground. There is much more to tell you, the archivist said. About who you are, about who we are, and about the dangers that wait in the darkness between stars. Dangers? Asked Olivia. Why do you think we scattered our children across the universe? The archivist asked. We were not just creating life. We were hiding it, protecting it. The lights in the room dimmed slightly, and the stars visible through the dome seemed to grow darker. You are not our only children, the archivist continued, but you may be our most important ones, because humans have something special, something we hoped you would develop. What's that? Asked Morgan. The archivist placed a hand on Morgan's chest right over his heart. This, it said simply. Emotion, compassion, love. We luminarites are beings of pure logic and knowledge, but you humans feel, and that might save us all. The universe's oldest species acknowledges humans as their lost children. Part 2 news of the Pathfinder's discovery spread quickly across Earth. Dr. Samantha Reeves sat in her lab at the Global Research Center, staring at the data sent back from the ship. As the world's leading expert on DNA and evolution, she had been asked to study the genetic samples provided by the Luminarites. This can't be possible, she muttered to herself. But the evidence was right there on her screen. Her colleague, Dr. William Carter, entered the lab carrying 2 cups of coffee. Found anything? He asked, placing 1 cup next to her. Samantha pointed to her screen. Look at this sequence here. For years we called it junk DNA because we didn't know what it did. It's in every human on Earth. William leaned closer. And? It's a perfect match to the Luminarite genetic material, she said. It's like a signature they left in our DNA. There's no way this could happen by chance. William sat down heavily. So it's true. They really did help create us. It seems that way, Samantha nodded. And there's more. This genetic code isn't just sitting there doing nothing. It's been dormant, but now it's showing signs of activation. Back on the ancient space station, Captain Morgan and his crew continued to learn from the archivist. They had set up a communication link so that Earth's leaders could watch and listen. 12 million years ago, the archivist explained, the Luminarites lived across thousands of galaxies. We were peaceful explorers and builders. Then came what we call the sundering. Images appeared around them, showing stars exploding and planets breaking apart. Something entered our universe from outside, the archivist continued. Something that fed on life and energy. We called it the void consciousness. It destroyed entire solar systems. What happened? Asked Olivia. We fought back, but we were losing. So we made a plan to preserve our species. The archivist's light dimmed slightly, as if remembering something painful. We sent ships to thousands of promising planets. Each ship carried genetic material that could be merged with the developing life forms on those worlds. Morgan looked around at his crew. Their faces showed shock and wonder. Earth was one of those planets, the archivist said. Your primitive ancestors were showing the first signs of intelligence. We added our genetic material to their DNA. Then, we waited and watched. For millions of years? Frank asked in disbelief. Time means little to us, the archivist replied. We have guided your development in small ways. When your people suddenly learned to use fire to make better tools to farm the land, these were not accidents. We activated small parts of your dormant DNA when you were ready. On Earth, protests had begun in major cities. Some people welcomed the news with excitement, seeing it as proof that humans were part of a greater cosmic family. Others were angry, feeling that their identity as humans had been stolen. We are not aliens. We are human, shouted protesters outside the United Nations building in New York. Religious leaders argued about what this meant for their beliefs. Some said the Luminarites must be angels or gods. Others claimed they were demons, trying to trick humanity. Dr. Samantha Reeves was called to speak before the World Council. The room was filled with leaders from every nation, all watching her nervously. The evidence is clear, she told them. The Luminarite genetic material is in all of us, but that doesn't make us less human. It makes our story more amazing. We evolved on Earth, but with a little help. A council member from Russia stood up. If they put this DNA in us, can they control us? Are we just their puppets? No, Samantha said firmly. The data shows they gave us something, but what we did with it was our choice. Human creativity, human compassion, human art and music. Those are ours. They may have given us the tools, but we built our own house. William Carter joined her at the podium. And now, that dormant DNA is starting to wake up. People around the world are reporting strange experiences, increased intelligence, new abilities, unusual dreams. The council room filled with worried whispers. On the space station, the archivist led Morgan and his team deeper into the structure. They entered a vast room filled with what looked like glowing trees made of crystal. This is our library, the archivist explained. Each crystal contains the knowledge and history of an entire civilization. Many of these cultures no longer exist. They were destroyed by the void consciousness. You said you fought this thing, Morgan said. Did you win? The archivist's light flickered. No, we survived, but only barely. We scattered across the universe, hiding. The void consciousness went dormant, but we know it still exists. Olivia stepped forward. Is that why you contacted us now? Do you need our help? Yes, the archivist admitted. The void consciousness is waking up, and you humans have something special that might help defeat it. What's that? Asked Ben. Your emotions, the archivist said. Luminarites are beings of pure thought and logic, but humans feel deeply. You love, you hope, you dream. These things are foreign to both us and the void consciousness. The archivist touched a crystal, and it glowed, brighter, but you are not our only children in the galaxy. There are others. Before we can share our full knowledge with any of you, we must be sure you are ready. Morgan frowned. How will you decide that? A test, said the archivist. What you might call a competition. Representatives from each of our descendant species will be invited to prove themselves worthy. And if we refuse? Morgan asked. Then you will remain as you are, the archivist said. But without our help, you will be defenseless when the void consciousness finds you. And it will find you, now that you've begun traveling between stars. Back. On Earth, Dr. Samantha Reeves made an amazing discovery. The activation of the dormant DNA was happening faster in some people than others. Those with the most active Luminarite genes were experiencing vivid dreams of a distant planet with 2 suns. Their memories, she told William. Genetic memories of the Luminarite homeworld. Somehow they're being passed down through our DNA. William looked concerned. If we're starting to remember their past, what else might we inherit from them? Their enemies? Their wars? Samantha had no answer. But, as night fell, she too began to dream of a world with two suns and crystal cities that reached into the clouds. The universe's oldest species acknowledges humans as their lost children. Part 3. 6 months had passed since the Pathfinder crew discovered the Luminarites. Earth was still divided about these ancient beings who claimed to be humanity's creators. But everyone paid attention when the Luminarites announced, "The Proving." Captain Alex Morgan stood in the main hall of the United Nations. Representatives from every country watched as the archivist's hologram appeared in the center of the room. Time has come," the archivist said. "We must choose which of our children will inherit our knowledge and responsibility. Humans are not the only species carrying our genetic material. 3 others have also reached the stars." Images appeared in the air. One showed tall, thin beings with 4 arms and gray skin. Another showed creatures that looked like walking, plants with eyes on stalks. The third showed beings that seemed made of living crystal. The Nalari, the Verdans, and the Crystalline, the archivist named them. Like humans, they all carry parts of us within them. Now all 4 species must be tested. "What kind of test?" asked the Secretary General. 5 representatives from each species will face challenges that will measure their intelligence, compassion, creativity, and strength, the archivist explained. "The species that proves most worthy will be acknowledged as our true inheritors." "And the others?" Morgan asked. "Will continue on their own paths," the archivist said. "But only the chosen will receive our full knowledge and protection against what is coming." After much debate, Earth selected its 5 representatives. Captain Morgan was the first choice. Dr. Samantha Reeves was the second. They were joined by diplomat Ryan Foster, engineer Gabriel Hernandez, and soldier Eric Knight. 1 month later, the 5 humans stood in a huge dome structure built in space between Earth and Mars. The other 3 species arrived in their own ships. It was humanity's first meeting with alien life, but there was no time for friendly greetings. The competition began immediately. The first challenge tested intelligence. Each team had to solve a complex puzzle involving mathematics and physics that humans had never even imagined. The crystalline beings finished first, their bodies glowing with satisfaction. "Don't worry," Samantha told her teammates. "This is just one test." The second challenge tested compassion. Each team was presented with a scenario where they had to distribute limited resources to different groups with various needs. The humans and the plant-like Verdans scored highest on this test. The Verdans made their choices based on what would help the most beings survive. The humans tried to find a balance between survival and quality of life. "Interesting," the archivist commented. "Different approaches to caring." The third challenge tested creativity. Each team had to create something beautiful using only light and sound. The Nalari created a performance that made some of the humans cry, even though they didn't understand why. But Gabrielle led the human team in creating a piece that combined Earth's many musical traditions with patterns of light that seemed to dance with the sounds. When they finished, even the other species seemed moved. "Your art carries emotion," the archivist said. "This is unique." The fourth challenge tested physical strength and endurance. The humans knew they would struggle here, especially against the powerful crystalline beings. Eric led their effort, pushing his body to its limits, but the humans came in last. "We were never going to win that one," Ryan said, helping Eric recover. "But we're still in this." After 4 challenges, the crystalline team led overall, with humans and the Nalari tied for second place. The final challenge would decide everything. The teams were taken to a large, empty room. In the center was a small platform with a red button. "This is the leadership challenge," the archivist explained. "One member of your team must be sacrificed so the others can continue. That person must press the button, which will remove them from the competition permanently. The team that makes this sacrifice first will receive bonus points that will likely determine the overall winner." The 4 teams huddled separately to discuss. "This is wrong," Samantha said. "We shouldn't have to sacrifice anyone." "But if we don't, we'll lose," Eric argued. "I'll do it, I'm a soldier." Sacrifice is part of my job. No, Morgan said firmly. There has to be another way. While the other teams argued among themselves, the humans approached the button together. We have a question, Morgan said to the archivist. What exactly happens to the person who presses the button? They will be transported to a separate chamber for the remainder of the competition, the archivist answered. Morgan looked at his team. So not death, just removal from the game. Still, Ryan said, without all 5 of us, we might not be able to complete future challenges. Gabrielle had been examining the platform carefully. Look at these markings around the edge, she said. They're similar to the control panels on the Luminarite station. I think. She pressed several spots in a pattern. The platform changed color, turning from red to blue. What have you done? The archivist asked, sounding surprised for the first time. Reprogrammed it, Gabriel said. Now it should allow one person from each team to join the removed player. Not a sacrifice, but a team working in 2 places. The other species had stopped their discussions and were watching the humans with what might have been confusion or admiration. This was not an expected solution, the archivist said. We don't believe in no-win scenarios, Morgan replied. If the rules don't work, we change them. A strange sound filled the room. It took the humans a moment to realize the archivist was laughing. The test is over, the archivist announced. But no one pressed the button, said the leader of the Nalari team. That was the real test, the archivist explained. Not whether you would sacrifice one for many, but whether you could think beyond the choices presented to you. The archivist turned to the humans. Your species has passed the proving. While the crystalline showed greatest intelligence, the Verdans greatest compassion, and the Nalari greatest artistic expression, only humans demonstrated the ability to question the rules themselves and find a third path. The other species seemed disappointed but not angry. The leader of the crystalline team approached Morgan. We will watch your species with great interest, it said in a voice like chiming bells. Perhaps we can learn from each other. As the other species departed to their ships, the archivist gathered the humans. Now, it said, you must prepare to receive your inheritance. But first, you should understand why this test was so important. The archivist's form changed, showing scenes from a distant past. When the void consciousness attacked us millions of years ago, we Luminarites could only see 2 options, fight or flee. Our logical minds couldn't find another way. It nearly destroyed us. You're hoping we can find that third option, Samantha said. Yes, the archivist nodded. Because the void consciousness is returning, and this time it's coming for all of you. The universe's oldest species acknowledges humans as their lost children. Part 4. The Luminarites declared humans as their chosen inheritors. The other 3 species returned to their home worlds, some accepting the decision, others quietly unhappy. The 5 human representatives were taken to the ancient space station, where they first met the archivist. Now you will receive our gift, the archivist told them. The knowledge and technology we have gathered across 12 million years. They entered a circular room with 5 chairs arranged around a glowing blue crystal. The crystal floated in, the air pulsing gently like a heartbeat. This is the repository, explained the archivist. It contains everything we know. To receive it, you must sit in the chairs. The humans looked at each other nervously. Will it hurt? Asked Eric the soldier. Your minds will change, the archivist said. But you were designed for this. The dormant parts of your DNA will now fully activate. Captain Morgan sat down first. The others followed his lead. As soon as they were all seated, the crystal grew brighter. Streams of blue light reached out from it and touched their foreheads. Gabrielle gasped. Ryan gripped his chair tightly. Samantha closed her eyes. Eric's face became very still. Morgan felt like his head was expanding, filling with more information than he could possibly understand. Images, ideas, and knowledge poured into their minds. They saw how to build ships that could fold space and travel faster than light. They learned about energy sources that could power entire planets without pollution. They discovered cures for diseases that still killed millions on Earth. But they also saw darkness. They saw the void consciousness destroying worlds, leaving nothing but empty husks behind. They felt the fear and despair of the Luminarites as their civilization fell. When the blue light finally retreated, the humans sat in silence for several minutes. Then Samantha spoke. "I understand now," she said quietly. "The void consciousness isn't just a creature or a force. It's the opposite of life itself. It's emptiness that wants to make everything empty." "Yes," the archivist nodded. "And now it senses your civilization. Your emotions, your energy, your life force, it hungers for it." Morgan stood up slowly. His mind felt different, larger somehow. "We need to warn Earth," he said. Back on Earth, strange things were happening. People around the world reported having unusual dreams and developing new abilities. A farmer in Kansas could suddenly understand and speak 12 languages. A teacher in Japan could solve complex math problems in seconds. A child in Brazil could see energy fields around living things. Dr. William Carter worked day and night in his lab, studying these cases. "It's the Luminarite DNA," he told world leaders in an emergency meeting. "It's activating across the human population, just like it did in our 5 representatives, but more slowly. Some people were afraid of these changes. Others welcomed them. Governments tried to identify and register people with new abilities, which led to protests and hiding. The 5 representatives returned to Earth with their new knowledge. They were changed. Their eyes now had a faint blue glow in the dark. They could communicate with each other without speaking, and they understood things that no human had ever understood before. "We need to prepare," Morgan told Earth's leaders. "The void consciousness is coming. It might take years or decades, but it's on its way." Samantha presented plans for new technology. "With these designs, we can build ships to defend our solar system. We can create energy shields around Earth." "And what about these changes happening to people?" asked the president of the African Union. "More people gain these abilities every day. They are becoming what we were always meant to be," Ryan explained. "The Luminarites designed us to evolve this way eventually. The repository just sped up the process for the 5 of us. Not everyone welcomed this news. Fear spread. Some religious groups claimed this was the end of humanity. Others saw it as the next step in human evolution. A new term emerged for those with activated Luminarite DNA, the awakened. Most of the awakened used their new abilities to help others, but some disappeared, going into hiding. Gabriel led the effort to build Earth's first true defensive fleet using Luminarite technology. Ships took shape in orbit, unlike anything humans had built before. They could travel faster than light and carried weapons that could destroy asteroids with a single shot. Eric trained pilots and crews, his mind now able to create perfect battle, simulations that felt completely real to those who experienced them. As the months passed, more of the repository knowledge spread to the awakened population. People began building new cities that worked in harmony with nature. They developed medical technology that could heal almost any injury or illness. But the 5 original representatives carried a burden the others did not. They had seen the full extent of the void consciousness's power and destruction. One night, Morgan stood on the roof of the new United Earth Defense Headquarters, looking at the stars. Samantha joined him. "I found something in the repository data that I didn't notice before," she said. "Something about the void consciousness." Morgan turned to her. "What is it?" "It's not just coming to feed on us," she said. "It's coming because it's afraid of us." "Afraid? Of humans?" "Yes." Samantha nodded. "The Luminarites were beings of pure logic. The void consciousness understood them and could predict what they would do. But humans..." She looked up at the stars. "We're unpredictable. We feel. We create. We imagine. These things confuse and frighten it." Morgan considered this. "So that's why the Luminarites chose us, not just because we can fight, but because we're something new in the universe. Something the void consciousness has never encountered before," Samantha agreed. "But there's more. I found records of other species the Luminarites created before us." None of them survived their encounter with the void. Morgan's face grew grim. Then we need to be the first. In deep space beyond the orbit of Pluto, Earth's new long-range sensors detected an unusual energy pattern. It was subtle, barely noticeable, but it was moving toward the solar system. A scout from the void consciousness had arrived. And where scouts went, the main force would follow. Morgan assembled his team. "It's time," he said. "We need to show this scout what humans can do." The first true battle between humanity and the void consciousness was about to begin. The universe's oldest species acknowledges humans as their lost children. Part 5 Captain Alex Morgan stood on the bridge of Earth's first true warship, the Defender. Built with luminarite technology, it was the most powerful vessel humans had ever created. Around him, his crew prepared for their mission. They would meet the void consciousness scout before it could reach Earth. "All systems ready, Captain," said Gabrielle Hernandez. As chief engineer, she had helped design the ship. "The scout is near the orbit of Neptune," reported Eric Knight, who handled weapons and tactics. "It's moving slowly, as if studying our system." Morgan nodded. "Take us out." The Defender moved away from Earth, accelerating to speeds that would have seemed impossible just a year ago. The stars blurred around them as they engaged the space-folding drive. Back on Earth, Samantha Reeves and Ryan Foster coordinated with the growing community of awakened humans. More people developed abilities each day. Some could see energy fields. Others could move objects with their minds. Many could connect with each other mentally across great distances. "The Defender has left orbit," Samantha told the World Council. "But we need a backup plan in case they fail." "What do you suggest?" asked the Secretary General. "We need to unite the minds of all awakened humans," Ryan explained. "The luminarite data suggests that consciousness itself can be a weapon against the void." "How is that possible?" someone asked. "The void consciousness feeds on emptiness and fear," Samantha said. "Human emotions, especially positive ones like love, hope, and courage, are poison to it." Far out in space, the Defender approached Neptune's orbit. The crew could now see the scout on their screens. It wasn't a ship in the normal sense. It looked like a tear in space, a moving hole of absolute darkness. "It's noticed us," Eric said. "It's changing course. All crew prepare for contact," Morgan announced. "Remember your training." The Void Scout moved toward them with incredible speed. As it approached, the crew felt a wave of cold fear wash over them. Their minds filled with images of death and emptiness. "It's attacking our thoughts," Morgan said, fighting to stay focused. "Activate mental shields." Gabriel activated a device the Luminarids had designed. A gentle blue light filled the bridge and the fear receded. "Weapons locked," Eric reported. "Fire," ordered Morgan. Beams of golden energy shot from the Defender. They struck the dark tear in space. The scout seemed to shrink for a moment, then expanded again. "Minimal effect," Eric said. "It's adapting to our weapons." The scout sent out a pulse of dark energy. It hit the Defender, causing the ship to shake violently. "Hull integrity at 80%, Gabriel reported. "One more hit like that and we're in trouble." Morgan frowned. Conventional attacks weren't working, just as the Luminarite records had suggested. They needed something else. "New plan," he said. "Bring us in closer." "Closer?" Eric looked shocked. "That thing will tear us apart." "Trust me," Morgan said. "Gabrielle, prepare the empathic transmitter." The empathic transmitter was an experimental device based on luminarite theories. It could project human emotions as energy. The Defender moved closer to the dark tear in space. Another pulse hit them, dropping their hull integrity to 60%. "Activate the transmitter," Morgan ordered. "All crew, focus on what you love about Earth, about being human. Think about what gives you hope, what makes you happy." The crew closed their eyes, filling their minds with positive thoughts. Morgan thought about the beauty of Earth seen from space. Gabrielle remembered her family's laughter. Eric recalled the feeling of the sun on his face. The empathic transmitter glowed brightly. A wave of golden light spread out from the defender, washing over the dark scout. The effect was immediate. The tear in space seemed to shrink, pulling away as if in pain. "It's working," Gabriel exclaimed. "The scout is retreating." "Stay focused," Morgan told his crew. "Keep those thoughts strong." The scout tried one last attack, sending a tendril of darkness toward the ship. But when it touched the field of emotional energy, the darkness sizzled and dissolved. With what seemed like a silent scream, the scout folded in on itself and disappeared. "Did we destroy it?" Eric asked. "No," Morgan said. "It retreated to warn the others. But we've learned something vital. Our emotions are weapons against it." On Earth, Samantha received Morgan's report with excitement. "This confirms our theory," she told the World Council. "The void consciousness cannot understand or withstand human emotions. But one ship's crew won't be enough when the main force arrives." "How many awakened would we need?" asked the president of the European Federation. "As many as possible," Ryan said, "and not just the awakened. All humans have this ability to some degree." Over the next month, a new plan formed. Transmitters, like the one on the Defender, were built around Earth. The awakened helped regular humans learn to project their emotions as energy. When the main force of the void consciousness arrived 3 months later, it was met not just by a fleet of ships, but by the combined emotional energy of billions of humans. Morgan led the fleet with the Defender at the front. The void appeared as a massive cloud of darkness larger than Earth's moon. "This is Captain Morgan to all Earth," he said over a global channel. "Focus your thoughts now. Think of what you love, what gives you hope, what makes life worth living." Across Earth, humans closed their eyes and focused. The awakened connected their minds, strengthening the network. The transmitters glowed brightly, sending a wave of golden energy into space. The darkness of the void consciousness touched this wave and began to break apart. It tried to push through, sending tendrils of fear toward Earth. But for every fear it created, humans responded with hope. For every darkness, they created light. On the Defender, Morgan felt something new in his mind. A presence, ancient and powerful. "The Luminarids," he whispered. The archivist's voice spoke in his thoughts. "We have watched and waited. Now we join with you." Across the galaxy, the scattered Luminarites focused their minds together with their human children. Their logical, ordered thoughts combined with human emotion to create something new. A perfect balance of reason and feeling. The void consciousness could not stand against this combined force. It thrashed and fought, but slowly began to break apart. "It's working," Gabriel shouted. "The readings show it's losing cohesion." With a final surge of energy from Earth and the Luminarids, the void consciousness collapsed. The darkness scattered and faded, leaving only empty space. A month later, the archivist stood before the United Earth Council. Its light form seemed brighter, more solid somehow. "For millions of years, we Luminarids fought the void with logic and technology. We failed," it said. "You humans fought it with something we had forgotten. Emotion, creativity, hope. And you succeeded. We had your knowledge to guide us," Samantha said. "But the victory was yours," the archivist replied. "You have proven yourselves not just our children, but our successors. You have become more than we ever were." The archivist bowed deeply to the human council. "The parents now honor the children who have surpassed them. The future of this galaxy belongs to humanity and those who stand with you." As the archivist spoke, ships appeared in orbit around Earth. The Nilari, the Verdans, and the Crystalline had returned. "We come to learn from you," their leaders said, "to join with you if you will have us." Morgan looked out at the stars from the council chamber window. Once humans had been alone, thinking themselves the only intelligent life in the universe. Now they knew they were part of a greater family, with both a remarkable heritage and an amazing future. "We welcome you all," he said. "There's room enough among the stars for all of us." The age of humanity had begun, not as conquerors, but as teachers, explorers, and protectors. The lost children had found their way home, and in doing so had created something entirely new.